Hello, 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 and welcome to the Downtown Out of the Mud Studios here in the wonderful downtown Flint, Michigan. And today, Out of the Mud presents Connected and Protected with host Dehru Mitchell. And today's title is Epithets of the Old World. And here's Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to also say from an epitaph to a Greek, from a new one. And that's the one you choose. Giving no place to those things that will hinder you and hold you, say, hostage to old mindsets, old ways of life, old thinking, and the debilitating factors that cause you to feel unable to aspire and give growth to those most many things that are included with the sharing of yourself with those loved ones, with those people that you have so much in common with, bearing, in fact, the level of interactions that you will have and must have, and the fact that you're going to give so much of yourself into it, without a doubt, there should be no hesitation. Giving that in this new world, we're going to be joining more and more and more into a mind frame not presented before now to our own acceleration, to our own becoming. For we have never been unable to be that most in this world, even though we have been made to think not. You try to separate any accomplishment that has been made from us who actually made it. We've been given a semblance, or we've been given a way to think that we had nothing to do with most of the things that happen in this world, but on the basis of the fact that in every aspect of everything, we were either the laborers, the ones who considered and brought it out as an ideal, or we were the purposed to be lessened so that we would not achieve and convince ourselves of our ability to achieve. Now it's over with. We can say goodbye to that. We can say goodbye joyfully or mournfully, whatever you choose. But the fact is that as a people, we have joined in energy and vibration in a much larger sense, even some unknowingly, to a progression, to a steady coming forth into what we want to achieve, what we want to have, how we want things to be. And it doesn't matter that there are yet those those things that hold it up because they say wait, or there are those things that say they won't allow it. But how can they disallow it if you continue to do it and you continue to progress in it and you share with ease? You share with ease those things that become you. You share with ease those things that are becoming you. And listen, I for a fact know that in many cases, there's nothing that can hinder me, even though I may lack those avenues that they say must be had to do this or do that or do this or do that. But listen, I have very few doubts that I can enjoy the most pleasurable things that I choose to, indulge myself with, or I could actually join into groups with my input and cause a magnanimous change. For you have so many talents and virtues that most people disavow themselves of, thinking that they have to give place to other people's thinking. When other people are looking to you to know your place in your own thinking and become much, much more valuable to you and to those who look to you to be the you that they know you to be. We I don't have reservations about saying, you know, that I look for many ways of people to join together. And I look for people who can join people together with a desire to see someone take on a whole change, a set a course for a worldwide change, set a course for a total change of mind, attitude, mentality, desires, you know? And I find I find it not unthinkable to say that the strongest level of overcoming, separating, engineering, and having a total aspect of self, not just being one, but all joining, having a leader that would join all and stand in a place and stand in a position to say, because I'm this way, you can also be this way. Even though I don't want you doing what I'm doing, because, well, I don't need you to do what I'm doing, because I feel as though if you assert yourself in a manner of joining in whatever aspect you do, then you have accomplished what I choose to say I set a course for. Because I feel as though everyone of our nature and of our being should, just automatically know that if we set our own course as individuals, following a total course set to become hmm, a, a people who have no one left out or no thing that they cannot achieve. And I'm going to say, without a doubt, I give place to people like Ibrahim Traore in Africa, who has magnanimously chosen to speak for his people, and I believe for anyone who has a ideal that the achievements we can make cannot be stopped, and the achievements that we want should benefit not only us but the world. And I give honor also to those innovators that may have been kept silent for so long, may have never even had a chance to be known. But I would say someone like Maxwell Chikumbutsu, who derived and come and put together a source of energy, technology, and so on and so forth, that is veritably free after the initial acquiring of the method in which it is to be used. Like if you want an outstanding automobile that requires no more than what it is made of, get in, turn the key, and go. No fuel, no nothing. Running on uh, radio frequencies and called a perpetual motion machine or whatever they have stipulated it to be. But look who came up with it. And look at the world's response to it. And then you think about it. What would you do with a vehicle that needed no fuel other than what it automatically has and it keeps on running? Maybe a slight maintenance after 5 or 10 years or whatever. But at the same time, you have the use of something without continuously paying to use it and being free to use it in any manner that you want. If you want to travel day in and day out, that's you. And it was innovated and, you know, given to the world. The world don't want it because the world's based on other things. It's not based on a person being free to do as they please with the ability to do it in means of transportation. It's not going to cost them on a daily basis and for the rest of their life. And so forth and so on, to the extent that that would also produce free energy. No need to pay lights, gas, all that. Well, gas maybe. Lights, electricity. We're so used to these things and being under the bondage of them because it's a monetary value placed on it that you have to receive it. And some people see it as okay, um, a means of exchange, your money for for that service. But what would it be if it were free? And free because someone cared enough to make it that way. We have we have always been a very giving people, but we give so little to each other. We have allowed many factors to come in and break that whole total connective mindset. Because I don't think that I can still feel myself putting out energy in certain areas and the response that I get from it is people say, wait a minute, how did I end up here with you here? And I said, well, I kind of thought about it. I kind of think that, you're receptive to those things. And in a likely manner, we both had some need to connect and be here at the same time, even though we was not, you know, totally thought at that time. It may have been always thinking up until that time in a small factor of a small way, but it comes about. Sometimes you can, Just say, hey, I was just thinking about you, and here you are. And those things not only matter, they are that way for a reason. Because in joining yourselves with those things and those ways that you want to be and want to have come about, it happens, and it's a growing, it's making life so much better when it's free to be that way. When you don't give it a second thought, you say, hey, yeah, you know, I needed to be with you. I needed to see you, and so on and so forth. Sometimes you even make plans to go distances to do those things, and those distances are shortened. May meet up someplace when you intended to be, going to another spot. And in all likelihood, I'm going to say we're going to achieve many, many things given that epitaph to the old world and a greeting to the new, because we have that in our hearts. Even though many have not given it the, um, I'd say precedence for one word, but there's got to be a smaller word more people understand, I guess. But we have to give place to this. There's no need to be hard hearted. There's no need to be hateful, not toward each other. Even though we've been made to configure to aspects of life that, stated that, okay, if your brother did something wrong to you, you have every right to cut him off, not even let him be your brother no more. That's ridiculous. And a stranger's and a stranger is out there making a way for you amongst the tumultuous or the most devastating aspects of life, being under head hunting, being under someone not even wanting him to continue to live because he's making life better for millions of people. Now, what is that? It's a sense of someone else wanting control and someone saying, nah, I ain't having it. We're not having it. And y'all please join with me in not having it. Just send the energy if nothing else. But join in too. Join in with a mind that says, basically, it's our world, it's our time. That old world, bye bye. Even if you hate it, even if you hate the change, allow it and see what it comes to. See what it accomplishes. Even in your mind and even in your life. For I'm sure that, you miss somebody, even though y'all might have ended up in more bad terms, but those terms can change. You can most definitely reopen your heart. You can most definitely reopen your mind. And you can always give place to joy instead of, any other attitude. It's a very fulfilling thing to know and be a part of a new world, a beginning, wherever you're at in your life or whatever. To just say, hey, wait a minute, I met a person before and we seem to have had a click. We seem to have clicked, but now we can greet in passing. And I feel more and more energetic because I've had that interaction or I've had that, hello, I remember you. We did this or we did that. We're working on new things now. And a lot of it is letting go of old things, wanting to be more and more able to be ourselves and make things happen for ourselves in a manner that we want it to be. And if you find yourself, struggling to find place, but you know of someone who has a stable and a very energetic and various ways of doing things that you could see yourself being with and joining in with, just to, you know, get stable enough to do those things yourself by constant repetition, or, you know, following a pattern, to let go of old things and come into new things. And I haven't planted a garden in years, but I picked up seeds yesterday, and I'm going to plant them. Because I want some red green beans for one thing, but at the same time, it's going to be more than I'm going to eat by myself. So I'll be sharing. And with those in my immediate area, even the manner on which to grow things like that to children, or, other people who don't know it. You know, if they choose to join in, if they choose to assuage their curiosity and say, "Hey, wait a minute, is this what this is? This what takes to grow this, and this is how you do it, and so on." So, yeah, from the preparing of the soil to the planting of the seeds, and to maintaining them until they come to a harvest. But at the same time, we have always been a people, a natural people, and we came naturally with the nature of this planet. And I give very little room for somebody to dispute that, you know, because on your in your inner instincts, in your inner knowing, where have you always been? I mean, always been. You have been part of the all. You have been part of everything coming about. Some with less knowledge of it because they didn't attend to themselves to know these things. I go to a place where I say, in the mixing, in the getting it two ways. You know, one is spiritually, the other is worldly. But the world has attacked you from the very beginning because it set standards. It set all of those things that you were supposed to follow, but not by those who led those who were to instruct you on those things and how to follow them. So, you know, you kind of begin to think, well, how did that occur? And how they had place to project all of those things onto you. And then you figure out, well, I don't have to go for that. Yeah. I do have to do certain things to promote my well-being, but at the same time, I can always factor in me being totally able to promote my well-being in whatever means I desire to do so. If it's a joining in with people who have the ability to assist me and give me those um, avenues to take, no matter what they considered or they are considered, as long as I'm accomplishing myself to the degree that I'm becoming more and more me, more and more involved in life, more and more able to either accomplish something for someone else by me, and that gives me the means to, suffice myself with the things that I need. I have no problem with those things. I do have a problem when I don't have any more than I need, and those needs have always has to always be met, and there's nothing after that. You know, maybe a few piddlings enough to buy some clothes, something like that there, whatever. But at the same time, it's always promoted that you make enough maybe to get you by and cause you to have to continue in whatever you're doing to continue to be um, what you call supported, self-supportive or whatever. But enjoying with, you know, millions of people, enjoying into being of assistance with the greatest to the smallest. There is none. There is no big eyes, no little U's. We all have a purpose. And in making that purpose, those who lead join in with those who follow, and those who follow join in with those who lead. And they make that steady progression. They make it so overwhelming that it breaks down those old things and it builds up new things. It helps people become more self sufficient, more um, proud of being who they are, proud of being amongst the people that they are amongst, and able to share. I kind of always, sought to do that, and always have been able to do that. Sometimes without any obligation, sometimes with some necessity added to it because I have needs to. But if in joining with everyone on the basis of letting go of that old crap, everything from, you know, I got to get over on you, or I got to make something off of you just to have what I need. But in doing that, I'm getting more than I actually need, but it's debilitating to you because that's even if you only feel slighted, it's an attitude thing. But in that, what is it? How is it stated? Uh, uh, um, Fair exchange is no robbery. Yeah. And if you feel as though you're due something, maybe you should discuss it before you attempt to claim that you are. Know yourself, and you find yourself being greater in a greater expanse when you are open to, that rapport that you have with, like, your loved ones, but it's with those who you may just meet and greet. You don't have to feel as though you have to restrain yourself so much anymore. It's a new world. And in that new world, there should be much more openness toward each other. Even if you have to close some out that are not in your world, truly in your world. And if there are some that are truly in your world, and I'm speaking specifically of those that you have affiliations with, or some relationship with, past, present, maybe even coming into the future. But knowing full well that your ability to be amongst those whom you love and those who are always in your world and in your corner and in your life shouldn't be a problem. To step in that, to step in that, to walk up in that. to accomplishing that. You know, I even hear my children saying, I'm gonna make changes. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And I want to do what is more advantageous, what is more best for me and mine and those who, you know, I choose to be with. Family first. Yeah. And it's growing in that manner. I see less and less separation as individuals, even though they have different, different lifestyles. But there's that room that says we're gonna come together this day or we're gonna come together that day and we're not gonna have to plan it. You know, I say what's gonna be cooked one day and you can say what's gonna be cooked another, and we can all come together or we can all, you know, do our own thing. But just the openness of it and just the ability to do those things makes it a wonderful situation. You know, I'm looking from a world view to an individual view. And given that I myself want to see this great change taking place as it is, and it's growing, it's growing and growing. And I see a fruitation of it being, wow, it's going to be a totally different world. But it's that time. It's a time for destruction to be over with. It's a time for the it's a time for the letting of control to end. We're going to give ourselves precedence in becoming more ourselves and be sharing more ourselves and be having more ourselves and be making more for ourselves. You know, those who have always had it, they're going to feel a little lost, I'm sure. But that's not going to be our problem. You know, I if I haven't stated it as a, you know, surety of clarity, the whole point is, as a people, we must become a people who doesn't have room for someone or anything to keep us separated, to keep us thinking that we're not what we are by knowing exactly what we are. One people in one world. Now, you can say that there's many aspects to that, or that there shouldn't be any separation of people. I have to say that that's been duly noted, but it's never going to change the fact that there are differences and people have to be themselves and accept that, you know. But we're going to grow. We're going to continue to be more and more ourselves in the enjoyment of ourselves, in that growth. I would like to extend myself to, you know, rejoining rejoining in relationships that have been passed with the same people into new relationships, uh, and to give ourselves very many openings to new beginnings, to new surges in life, and to new aspects that have always been able to be had, but been so diminished because we have been pressed in every way to disregard them, to not join together, to have the cumulative or the together effect that we have always been able to do. Just like going to a potluck dinner or meeting up at a family reunion, bringing your own dish that people know and know that you're good at. And I would say, you know, it's been very, very enlightening for me to sit and watch and to look in and see so many ways in which we're joining together from one mindset that says we no longer have to inhibit ourselves from being ourselves. And we no longer have to profit someone else when we could profit ourselves by what we have naturally. We give ourselves the room to grow, we give ourselves the room to join together, and we can accomplish so many more things in our own mindsets without the assistance of someone else telling us that you can or you can't. Because we always can. We have no reason to be stopped by someone else when you can still walk across the street to wherever you're going. Even though the stop sign says stop, there's another part of it that says go. You be that part that says go to yourself, even when another part or another party says stop. I'm going to give um, a suggestion. When you remember a part of a relationship that you had, that you were thoroughly involved in and you were thoroughly enjoying, before any factors that caused it to go sour or whatever, and it ended, can you remember and would you like to have that same long lasting relationship restarted and stable to know that it's never have to end? It doesn't have to be obligatory or, you know, fabricated in your mind. You can do be you and let it be it. Because I never ended relationships, even though some have ended. But I can talk to those same people today and they, wow, how are you? I ain't seen you in all this, that, and the other. And I remember. And I haven't forgotten either. I know all of the little intricacies that I enjoy and I instill. So just to say that, like, there are magnanimous leaders and magnanimous innovators, and there are those people who process those things and allow others to come in and join in and bring things about that are going to benefit us worldwide as a people. Give yourself that chance. Say goodbye to that old world. Give it its epitaph. It's ending. And say, hello, new world. That one which you want it to be. And then look at those people who are doing those things for millions of people, putting themselves so far out there. They're like me, they have to be protected. I'm not going to say where my protection comes from, but most know. And I'm going to give you place and space to continue to think about that. And look in those avenues and look in those ways which those things are being done. You can look at Africa. You can even look here in America and see that some people have given up those old ways for new ways and becoming more and more, you could say, humble, to be given much more stature by those who look at them in a new way and say, look, yeah, they learned something, they're showing it, they're being it, and they're sharing it. I find that to be wholeheartedly a way to be. Even though they have those other avenues that they've always been in, still they can change those attitudes in them. You know, I still give you that last part of this before it ends. I've always considered one love. It doesn't expire. It doesn't close off. It doesn't. It doesn't get smaller. It's always growing, and the more you're in it, the more you grow with it. And with that, I'm going to give place to an ending of this session of this episode, so that we can look forward to a new one. Good evening.